Good morning, everybody. Welcome to LOCPOD, Belgium's top-rated podcast.
Season 5, Episode 16.
Seems
It's almost time for a break.
It's getting close to time for a break. I could tell when I wake up and I'm like raging about things that it's probably time for a break.
For a LOCPOD break.
Yeah, this morning's rage was there was something on my calendar that was impossible, and I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to do this?
Yeah, I think it's just you weren't supposed to do it, so it's all good.
But like my calendar has become the depository for like anybody that's doing anything.
Right.
Like
We're gonna.
Kevin's picking up a dog. It's on my calendar. It's like,
well, I think Sharon and those folks will get this all figured out. By the
Sharon
way,
and those folks.
welcome Chris Campbell to the studio.
Welcome Chris Campbell to the studio.
Producer.
Filling in for Jay Vez.
How have
big
we?
Shoes to fill. Big
Yeah,
shoes.
they are. Have we heard from Vez?
I
got
talked
a text.
to him,
I got a
talked to
text
him yesterday a little bit. Said he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah, a lot of pain, but recovering, so
Right.
that's good. We're happy. We send our best wishes over to our producer John Vesmar, who's recovering.
Let's talk in detail.
How
about
do you
his
think?
surgery.
How long do you think he can milk this from LOCPOD, Chris?
Depending on how this goes today, he might milk it a little bit longer.
Well,
So in other words, you better do a real bad job. She's like, I got to get back.
I'm gonna break something. I know it. So
Chris,
it's gonna be good.
I think you come in hot. You come in with like prepared like comedy, and you kill. And then our audience is huge. Vez will be back on the very next.
I
episode.
wonder. Maybe he's like, maybe Chris has got something here. How long can I milk this?
Well,
recovery?
like the way I see this is like if you're a football team, your quarterback goes down. Shit, we can't call John a quarterback. Let's say
He's
like
probably like a
Water boy.
like a center, like a guard or
Yeah.
tackle, like offensive
okay.
line.
Let's say center.
Okay.
It's decent. I mean, you don't have to do much.
It's
Snap
important.
the ball. Snap the ball. Block
very
people,
important.
right?
Yeah.
So if our center goes down, and he's been with us for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
we like him, right? He does a decent job, right?
Yeah.
And he goes down, and then you bring in this new young center that like is like, hey man, I got this. I'm filling in for the injured
then the
center.
old center gets like nervous. His job's in order. Like,
But what if the new
risk.
center comes in and kicks ass? And you're
Yeah.
like, damn, man, this new center doesn't cost us hardly anything. That old center, let's be honest, is a pain in the ass, right?
also didn't cost anybody anything?
True. It's true. None of us make anything, actually, except for Steve. But what I'm saying is, I think this is a great opportunity for Chris Campbell. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, that's if Chris Campbell wants it. I mean, he's got to get up early now. It's like,
This is very, very early for me. I'm not used to this.
Chris, would you be willing to work approximately 6 hours a week for absolutely nothing?
6. John would be like 6. He's like,
For nothing, like, and it's never relenting, and like, oh, by the way, in addition to the 6 hours a week, 6 to 10 hours a week for no pay, in addition to that, you'll get hundreds of random texts on a LOCPOD chain for like possible show topics and
and
ridicule.
also sometimes
I've heard
some
about
rants
those
from the mayor over like production.
Oh yeah,
things
I'll
like
blame you
that.
for things for sure, right? And then of course the audience sometimes will come at you. All
For your
that,
political views.
all that for the grand price of $0.00.
You know, you're making it sound so amazing.
If that's not a sales pitch.
Right.
That is a sales pitch.
Maybe John will milk this even longer. Then.
Yeah, we're like 3 weeks from now. We're like, man, John's really slow recovery, man.
Well, how long does penis reduction surgery take anyway?
Wait, we weren't supposed to talk about that.
It's
Remember?
HIPAA,
Well, he
it's
hinted
HIPAA,
at
man.
it.
It's HIPAA, man.
He
We can't be
hinted on
talking
it on the
about
last
HIPAA,
one.
man. We're not
I
gonna
think
get in
it's
trouble
okay.
with HIPAA.
we can't talk about his privates, man.
Also, thank you, Jill, for coming in for Lindsay. Lindsay wasn't feeling good.
By
so-
the way, with another we're
Yeah.
going like with not that Jill's a backup, Jill's a regular on Tuesday, but here she is on a Friday.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Jill.
All for $0
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, Jill makes nothing also.
I also make
Yeah.
nothing.
Jill makes $0.00. I make $0.00. Kevin makes $0.00, and yet LOCPOD makes enough money to require all of us to pay taxes. Like,
Yes.
what the hell's going on here?
That's it.
Yeah,
Jill?
I talked to the business manager the other
I'm
day.
supposed to be doing that?
No,
I
you're
talked
just
to
supposed to come in when we need you.
I talked to the business manager the other day, and he's
Which
like,
is
"Hey,
a lot.
man, yeah, we have enough money to pay the taxes." I'm like, "I know we do. I read these ads every week. We probably got 7 figures in the LOCPOD account."
I don't think that's true.
And Steve is. I know Steve's driving a new Lamborghini. I don't know what's going on with that, but
I think we'd be lucky if we have like 4 digits or 3 digits. I'm just happy that
we
can
have
pay the bills.
We have 4 digits.
Okay, thank you. I don't know.
I don't
Steve
know
Kellogg
either.
handles that.
I agree, but if we don't have 4 digits,
You start getting crackling. It's crackling. The lights are going to
The
go
fissure.
off.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, there's a lot in the news. And by the way,
Yeah.
we've got a great. We want to preview. We've got a really good guest. We hope that's coming in. Also relying
not
on
we
our
hope.
business manager.
he's coming in.
Yes,
It's been lined up.
Gabe Mendoza from Mission Dispensaries.
Yeah, he is. I think he's general like a co-owner, or
General manager
of the Mission South Shore Dispensaries.
On 86th and Commercial in the city.
No, all of them.
Well, you said, South Shore. I thought Cal City was separate from South Shore.
I
South
think,
Shore,
it's all under the same umbrella.
All
I
right.
think he's responsible for multiple
find
stores.
out.
We're going to find. See all these questions we have for him?
But like the cool thing is, he's the guy that gave me the tour of the one in South Chicago.
Nice.
I took me into the green room.
I'm not
Literally.
sure. The green room.
I was literally in a room with, I don't know, pounds and pounds of marijuana surrounding me, like packaged for sale. But he brought me in there and showed me the innards of his business, and I met a lot of the employees. And at the time, I asked him if he'd be willing to come on LOCPOD, and he was more than happy to say yes. So
That's great.
So if you want to learn more about the marijuana industry, particularly the one in Illinois, Chicago in particularly, we have an executive coming on that's going to talk about that. And I think it's going to be interesting for us here in Indiana, where carrying that little plant will get you thrown in jail.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
God forbid you have a plant in your pocket.
We've talked about this on occasion, and Indiana really is about to be, soon will be surrounded by states where it's legal, and those states are making a lot of revenue for their coffers, and they're not arresting people.
I'm not denying that some of that revenue came from Tom McDermott. I'm not denying that a bit.
I'm just saying that I think the state is got kind of tunnel vision on this, and they're not really
It's
moving
all
on. I mean,
politics.
it didn't even come up at the State House this year. Didn't even come up. Wasn't even an issue.
It's because,
Not even medical.
it's politics, Kevin.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
politics. The Republican supermajority in Indiana doesn't want to approach this because they feel that their base doesn't want it, when in fact polls across the state of Indiana show that 65% of all Hoosiers want marijuana legalized and decriminalized. But, and the only way to teach the politicians in Indianapolis that this is the way we want to go in regards to marijuana is to vote them out. Vote people like Todd Young out. Vote people like Mike Braun out, even though they're U.S. senators. They're blocking marijuana legalization. Voting out Eric Holcomb. Well, he's leaving anyway. Voting out the supermajority and replacing it with people that are more friendly in regards to marijuana.
To me, it's a legislative issue. I mean, the legislators really need to look at this. And it just is crazy that you've got states like South Dakota, Mississippi, the states you usually think of are not going to be on the cutting edge of these issues, that have legalized it, and they've done it through referendum, and the referendum, even in those states, which you consider to be usually pretty conservative, and it just goes to show you that it's an issue that goes across political boundaries. It's not like a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. To me, it's people not overwhelmingly, but I think majority want it. So
True.
All right, so we got some stuff to talk about before we get Gabe in here.
Why don't we start with ads, and then we'll come back, talk about that, and then we'll do ads before we bring in Gabe. How about that?
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Powering America. POW! That's our premier sponsor. This is what we mention at the beginning and end of every episode. You know why? Because they're our premier sponsor, Powering America. Season 5, just like Season 4, is powered by our premier sponsor, Powering America. With the explosive growth of renewable energy in America today, call Powering America to meet your needs. For renewable energy in your home or office, including electric vehicle charges and solar power solutions, trust the electrical professionals of Powering America. That's right. Powering America. Visit poweringnorthwestindiana, completely spelled out, .org. That's poweringnorthwestindiana.org.
Can't miss that one this morning. POW. Grazolius Concrete was voted number 1 in the Times Best of the Region 2020 and 2021. Grazolius Concrete specializes in all of your concrete projects, and they've been using the original cement finish in the
California style. They did that at the Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah.
How cool was that?
Very cool. I was like, where's Grazolius Concrete?
Dude.
Since 1972. Also offers stamped and colored concrete. Call now 659-4127 to get your project lined up for the spring.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon. All right, Chris, we're going to see how good you are here. Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard of Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Wow.
Tortillas Nuevo León,
5 stars,
hechas
Chris
con
Campbell.
amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia, de todo corazón.
Hey, Kevin.
Yes.
That center's starting to look pretty good.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, snapping the ball very cleanly, making good blocks.
That was as clean as ever.
I'm telling you, that was seamless.
I was sweating, guys. I'm not gonna lie. That was. He actually made it a layer this time, so you know.
He made it easier for you.
He made it way easier because it was like.
There you go. See,
my first time hearing you guys like, oh, by the way, we got a new song we're gonna play, and it was like, oh, okay.
See, so John was helping Chris out.
Well, that's what you do when
That's
you
what
get
you
injured.
do.
Yeah.
When you help you out the guy that's right behind you.
If I was the quarterback and I got injured, I'd be talking to the next quarterback. Hey, you should look for this. You should do that. Because that's what you do if you're on a good team.
And you're a good teammate.
That's right.
Got to have a good playbook.
There you go.
That's right.
Tri Electronics wants to be your complete communications provider. Tri Electronics has been a leader in this industry for more than 55 years. They're dedicated to assisting their clients with their systems integration needs. Tri Electronics has the expertise and experience to provide superior results for a wide variety of projects. For more information, call Tri Electronics today at 800-722-6793.
I sort of got naked on the video earlier.
I don't know about that. I mean, you showed your stomach. If that's naked.
It's not exactly my best part. I have better parts than what I showed, but yeah, there was some mention that
there was some mention.
We're gonna get flagged.
I actually got semi nude right before the show on camera, so
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Everybody,
really?
I think I didn't know if I couldn't tell if our viewership went up or down.
It went down actually a lot. People tuned out.
They're like, wait, I think Mayor Tom has his shirt off. We're gonna.
I think I just
tune out today.
I think I just vomited in my mouth.
Someone might have spiked.
Yeah.
So what do you make of this? I mean, obviously we've all been kind of thinking about what's happening in Ukraine.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's I don't know.
It's could be the beginning of World War III.
I hope not.
It's the first time that war has been on the European continent since World War II,
which is absolutely.
It's a free country.
Hard to believe. Yeah.
Of people that are allied with us. They're not part of NATO, but they want to be, and they're allied with us, and we're allied with them. It's democratic.
Yeah.
Peaceful country.
Mm-hmm. To me, it seems like, what I'm thinking is Putin trying to test the waters here? And I mean, we all get people that are
He's not
our
testing
age,
the
right?
waters. He's bombing them.
I'm not saying testing the waters regarding Ukraine. I'm saying testing the waters regarding Europe and the sphere of influence, right? I mean, we all grew up with the Soviet Union and the Cold War. That are people that I shouldn't say we all.
USSR.
People that are our age, right? Soviet Union. And what happened after World War II was like, okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and put in these communist governments, these puppet governments throughout Eastern Europe.
Right.
And the Soviet Union basically controlled it, right? That was the Eastern Bloc. We had the Cold War. We had NATO. They had the Warsaw Pact. And that was it. And so my thought is, this guy's trying to say like, hey, let's see what NATO's resolve is. I go into the Ukraine, see what happens. And now the question is, where does he go next?
Poland?
Moldova? Romania? I mean, those are former Soviet-controlled areas. Mm-hmm. What about the Baltics?
Right.
Would you want to be living in Estonia, Latvia, or Lithuania right now?
Absolutely not. And I mean, they're next on the list.
I hope not. But you got to remember, those are NATO countries.
But Poland used to be under communist rule too.
It
so
did,
they
it was,
there?
But they're NATO. That's a NATO country. So he'd basically be saying like, we're going to go to full-scale ground war here in Europe.
And he's ready for it right now because he's got like 150,000 troops on the ground in the snow.
I mean, I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope that it's
but we have to pull our heads out and like take a look at the reality of the situation. Is he could go to Poland if he wants. He could go to Estonia if he wants. He could go to Romania if he wants. Like the Ukrainians are putting up very little resistance. They're going to be in Kiev like today.
Yeah,
the capital.
I'm sure they're like saboteurs already there.
What are they going to do if they get a hold of the president, Zelensky?
They're going to probably kill him. Or imprison him. I don't know. I mean, it's going to Ukraine. I mean, I think Ukraine at this point, I think I hope they put up a good fight. And I hope they, defend their country. But the reality is they're going to get rolled over, I think. And that's unfortunate. It's sad. It's terrible. But I mean, you look at what happened in Crimea, rolled right. And that was maybe that was testing the waters.
Marissa's family living in Poland.
Yeah, they got to be stressed out.
Yeah, it'd be like if, where we live in Indiana, it'd be like if the Russians were attacking in Ohio. Would we be super confident over here in Indiana? We'd be like, holy crap, we're next, right? Yeah. I mean, so we have family over there paying very close interest. And by the way, a country that used to be part of,
the Warsaw
Russia.
Pact. Yeah. Well,
people our age in Poland, Kevin, speak Russian.
Sure.
Because that's what they were taught, because that's where the schools were run by. And then people like Chris's age and Jill's age speak, Polish and English, because it's literally like if you and I grew up in Poland,
we'd speak both.
We'd be speaking Russian.
Well, I'm sure you still don't know Polish, right? If you're Polish.
No. Of course you know Polish
Yeah.
and Russian, but you don't know English usually.
There you go. Oh, interesting.
Marissa's oldest brother in Poland is like my age.
Okay.
Literally, like almost to the day. He doesn't know a lick of English.
But he could speak Russian.
Totally.
Interesting.
He speaks Russian.
That's
he
very
speaks
interesting.
Polish, and like cannot communicate with me at all. Him and I barely said 20 words to each other because it's just
You don't know
without an
Russian or
interpreter.
Polish.
That's right. So like
But the younger folks all speak English.
all the younger folks speak English. That's why it's an easy country to visit, because I don't speak Polish, and I could try and I could, mess around a little bit. But the fact is, they could speak the language I understand.
Yeah, I was thinking about this morning. It kind of reminds me of like, after World War One, they always talk about the Treaty of Paris or Versailles, right? Where they kind of put Germany down.
Right.
And then like Germany came back, and that's how he had Hitler, right? Because it was like, hey, what? And all of a sudden, I'm thinking like, wait a minute, 1991 when the Soviet Union broke up, it wasn't really. It was kind of on its own. It was its own. I don't think the West came in and right. It kind of was
it broke up.
It broke up, right? And all of a sudden we had all these countries became independent again, right? Which is great,
and democratic.
Yeah, and became part of NATO. So now you just wonder, is Putin trying to say or trying to get this like Russian, like nationalist feeling together and say we need to increase our sphere of influence? And when you appease dictators and tyrants, I mean things happen.
Okay, hey Chris, I got a link over there. Could you push that link? This is President Trump talking about Vladimir Putin when he was president of the United States. It's an interesting video. It's 1 minute long. So
let's see if Chris can. Oh, this is all
all
right.
Push play.
Yeah, but it's
I
still
know
got
how
to
to
come
push
up.
play. It's the
The video, the picture-in-picture. You're getting there. All right. Well, Chris is going to work on that.
Yeah.
Or just hit play and we can hear the audio.
it keeps giving me the wrong thing.
The center. What's happening to our center?
Oh, no.
Right?
Yeah, fumbled.
Well, anyway,
Remember how I said I was going to mess up so that
so John would come back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's basically a 1 minute video of Donald Trump talking about how great Vladimir Putin is and how much Vladimir Putin loves Donald Trump and how great of friends they are and how they trust each other and how they know each other and how they admire each other. It's a 1 minute video, and it's disturbing, especially now because Vladimir Putin is, invading a European continent. I mean, invading, a free country.
Yeah, I mean, it's always contextual, right? I mean, if you go back, I'm trying to think of like in Obama or in those it was America trying to like get friendly with, not friendly, but just have a good relationship with Russia. And then I think Trump just kind of, to me, he really did like admire him. It almost seemed like there was like an admiration for the guy.
But who else did Trump admire?
Kim Jong-il.
There you go.
John texted me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he needs to label this stuff a lot better.
Okay.
I'm going to blame him on this one.
Phone a
okay.
friend.
We can just pass it.
No, here, you
It's
got
right
it.
here if
Oh, you got it?
up.
Yeah, go.
Hit
Let's
play.
go.
Lies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I hit play.
All right.
Okay. Don't worry about it, man.
We
can
got
move
it
on.
down.
We can move on. I described it pretty well. So anyway, I put out a tweet yesterday that was interesting because I'm trying to put my opponent, the one I'm running against, Todd Young. He's a U.S. senator. I want to know where he stands because there's picture after picture of Todd Young kissing, President Trump's ass and trying to get President Young supporters to support him. So he takes pictures and he coddled the president. And let's be honest, Todd Young's history with Donald Trump, Kevin, there was 2 impeachment votes where Todd Young had to decide whether or not to vote to, in this case, why did I just go blank?
Keep going.
Am I still on?
We're still taping, yeah.
Oh, okay. You could hear me though, right?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay. So, hey, Chris, whatever you're doing, don't do that. It sounds
Just
weird.
keep rolling. We're taping.
Okay. So, but basically, there's 2 impeachment votes that Todd Young took against Donald Trump, right? The first one involved Ukraine and whether or not improper influence was exercised with, and the second one involved January 6th. And Todd Young had a chance to vote, to say the president did wrong 2 times, and he didn't.
Yeah, the second one especially always just makes me scratch my head. Where we had the January 6th one. The second impeachment I thought was much more clear cut. I mean, you can make this
No doubt about
argument
it.
that like the Russian influence, blah, blah, blah on the first one.
Kevin,
collusion.
the first one I was actually saying that, and I got beat up for it, right? I was saying, we already know that the U.S. Senate's not going to remove the president on that first impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time I was running for Congress, I said, I think you should just censure the president
on.
and move on.
Get
and
back to business.
Stop
And you got
tearing
killed
the
for that.
Stop tearing the country apart, right? And then, but the second one that was Donald Trump part of the insurrection that led to January 6th? Todd Young could have, as an American,
Made a stand.
as a veteran, as a Marine, Todd, right? As a patriotic American, why wouldn't you take a stand on that?
And there were Republicans that did.
Yeah. And by the way, if you take a stand on that, honestly, you probably at least cut this guy's tail a little bit. You can't do everything, Donald Trump, without getting in trouble. There are limits, even if you're the United States president, right? He never was censored. He never was bothered by Todd Young. He was never voted against by Todd Young. Todd Young did everything he could to kiss the ass of Donald Trump, right? So Donald Trump's got this guy in his pocket, and he feels like he could do anything he wants. Now, Donald Trump's out there befriending dictators. He's out there complimenting dictators. Even now, Vladimir Putin invades Ukraine. And what is Donald Trump saying about him, Kevin?
Well, Donald Trump's saying he's a genius. Donald Trump's saying, he said Putin's a genius. He said, Donald Trump said he's savvy. He had $2 in sanctions, big deal. He's going to go in and, he's going on and on about him. And I've never seen anything like this, right, in America where leaders of our country, former presidents, are basically taking an opposite tact.
Former president.
Yeah, you're right. Former president.
George W. Bush.
Would never say that about
No way.
Either would President Obama. Either would President Carter.
No way.
No.
All of our former presidents are united.
And they know who
our friends are.
Our enemy, and who's our friends and
That's
who's
right.
our enemies,
Kevin,
and who wants to undermine us.
I was in the United States Navy for 6 years, okay? I was underwater for 4 years. And you ask any of my fellow shipmates, you ask any other person that was in the Navy, we chased Russians, and Russians chased us. We acted like we were going to kill Russians, and Russians acted like they were going to kill us. We sat off the coast of their country with nuclear warheads that could have annihilated 50 of their cities. They're sitting off the coast of America with nuclear warheads that can annihilate 50 American cities right now.
I mean, make no mistake about it. I think Putin and those that are supporting him, they love the fact that America is divided. Because they feel like America is weak. They feel like the democratic model is weakening and is not at its top.
It's not.
And they're testing it. They're testing the mettle and they're testing the resolve of democracies around the world, in
Kevin,
my opinion.
I want to reiterate. There's a Russian sub right now, 12 miles off the coast of Washington, D.C., that has the capability to annihilate the East Coast and kill everybody in every city on the East Coast. And that's a fact. There's probably multiple, okay? And the United States Navy has dozens of subs off the coast of Russia with nuclear warheads that can annihilate their entire country right now. It's been that way for since the 1960s, okay? They are America's enemy, all right? And President Trump is a lover of Vladimir Putin. And President Trump is leading a large group of Americans that believe in him to adore Vladimir Putin. I had a conversation with my dad last night, and my dad is blaming Biden for this.
It's unbelievable.
And I'm like, Dad, turn off Fox News. Yeah. You're getting brainwashed. Take a goddamn step back. How is this Biden's fault? It's not Biden's fault. This guy's a dictator, an authoritarian, a bully.
That's right. I don't care who the president is. He's going to try to, and I think he thought with Trump, he's like, this guy likes me. He's not going to complain about anything I do.
Right. Exactly.
And if we have Donald Trump as president again,
Donald Trump would be siding with the dictator.
Yeah. I mean, here's what Todd Young said. I saw in the paper today after you had asked, you tweeted something, and I did see he gave a statement. It was a prepared statement. American strength and leadership in this moment is critical. The weak response from the United States following Russia's previous invasions of Georgia and Crimea left Putin undeterred in his perverse ambition of rebuilding the Soviet Union. Vladimir Putin is attacking the democratic, rule-based order that has benefited countless Americans and millions around the globe since World War II.
I heard our guest is in the green room, which is appropriately named today, by the way.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, man. But we have one more thing we want to hit, LOCPOD in the news. Then we're going to do ads. Then we're going to bring over Gabe Mendoza, who is general manager of Mission South Shore marijuana dispensary in
We're
Chicago.
going to talk about the marijuana industry.
We're going to talk about the marijuana industry. It should be a great show from a guy that makes a living off of it legally. But LOCPOD did make the news in a big story yesterday. I didn't see it until my buddy and LOCPOD listener, Mayor Clint from Sullivan, sent me a copy. And it's James Briggs. If you remember James Briggs, he's an Indianapolis Star reporter who hung out with Mayor McDermott for 4 hours straight and did an article on me when I first was contemplating.
Kind of like an intro to Tom McDermott type thing.
Yeah, he just sort of like observed me, and it was sort of intimidating, I'll be honest. I'm hanging out with a reporter, trying not to cuss, trying to be on my best behavior.
You said you act like Donald Trump with a soul. I think
With a good soul.
With a good soul.
That's
Ooh. I guess that's a hat.
yeah, whatever. I've heard it before. It's not just him that said it, by the way. So I'm just going to go through some of the highlights because I think it's a really good article, if you don't mind, Kev.
Let's listen up here.
Mayor Thomas McDermott will no longer face a primary opponent as he seeks to defeat U.S. Senator Todd Young. That's good for McDermott because he should spend as little time possible talking to Democrats between now and November. That seems to be the theme of this is Mr. Briggs is like...
How do you get the crossover vote?
Right. And he's like, you should not be worried about going left, Mr. McDermott. You should be worried about going right and trying to attract Republicans to cross over and vote for you. That seems to be that seems to be the theme. I
like this. This is one of my. I like this part of it. He basically says it's going to be a more interesting contest for Todd Young than it should be.
Right.
And he says that's because McDermott's a more legitimate candidate. The Democrats seem likely to recruit, and two, he's a bit of a loose cannon. Who can be entertaining. Who can be entertaining.
I'm entertaining.
And
Let's
perhaps even make Young feel uncomfortable at times. Well, I think the thing I like about that is that I know that you're not going to give Todd Young a break. You're going to take him to task. You're going to confront him with things that he needs to be confronted with, and you're not just going to sit there and, you're going to obviously be respectful of the guy, but you're not going to just roll over. Yeah.
Todd Young, the Republican Party looks at Todd Young and says, we got a great candidate with millions of dollars in the bank. Like, we're safe here, right? And then when I first started jumping into this race, I sort of looked at him the same way. Like, damn, he's a young, strong candidate with $5 million in the bank, right? And then I realized when I started doing more research, there's plenty to talk about. I mean, my speeches are good, and it's factual, and it makes people shake their heads in anger, So anyway, the article goes on with a backhanded compliment.
Well, what about convincing the Republican-leaning voters to give you a chance, and that you want to, and that he basically says you need to go where conservatives are and make your best pitch?
Well, you're like jumping ahead of me.
I am. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
hit it.
McDermott probably can't do worse than Democrat Woody Myers did in 2020 when he won about 32% of the vote in his gubernatorial race against Eric Holcomb. Huh.
Yeah, that was...
I think that's a low water mark.
Yeah, and we know Woody. He's a good guy, but I think that I think what Briggs is saying is that he focused too much on places where he already had the vote.
Yeah, he said basically Woody Myers spent much of his precious pandemic-shortened calendar holding video chats with Democrats who would have voted for anybody with a D on the ballot. Very, very true.
Yep.
So then Mr. Briggs says, if Tom needs to do... Well, he needs two things to happen in order. Young could either quit the Senate and become a farmer, which is not going to happen. Or Tom McDermott can convince a lot of Republican-leaning voters to give him a chance. McDermott can't control the first part. Todd's not going to become a farmer. But he can go, where the conservatives are and make his best pitch. And this is where LOCPOD comes up. He is capable of doing that. McDermott hosts a podcast.
Wow.
Left of center. Boom.
Wow.
There we go.
Wait, here we go. Let me read the rest. This is great. Which is unusually I like the adjectives here. Which is unusually captivating. For a show involving an elected official. The podcast has included expletive-laden rants.
True.
Laden rants by you. Mm-hmm. And a discussion in November about how McDermott smoked pot at a Grateful Dead concerts.
I did.
As a policy matter, McDermott wants to legalize marijuana. Very timely for Gabe to come in a second.
Who doesn't smoke pot at a Grateful Dead concert outdoor at Wrigley Field? Like, Kevin would not. I know that. Okay, Kevin, I'm just giving you that. So let's say there's 50,000 people in there. How many people are not smoking pot?
How many Kevins are there in the?
Less
than 20%.
Less than 10,000. I was going to say.
Yeah,
we're 20%. On the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was part of the. I was part of the 80%.
Yeah. So I think this is great, and this is from the Briggs article. They describe you. One thing that strikes Mr. Briggs, about the podcast is that it presents a vibe similar to conservative media. Look, John would be proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just regular people talking about politics and pop culture in populist terms that defy political correctness. McDermott happens to be a Notre Dame educated attorney and 5-term mayor of Hammond, but he this is the quote of the article.
Mm-hmm.
But he talks like a sanitation worker who accidentally fell into an elected office and is amused to have an important job.
I'm gonna get that on a plaque. I swear. It's like a pretty damn good a pretty damn good description of Tom McDermott, I have to say.
So, I mean, I know we want to get Gabe in here, but I want to finish this
like
thought and
a
ask you a
sailor.
question.
I swear like a sailor.
You were a
As you
sailor.
should.
See?
Thank you. And I do have fun being mayor. I make it fun.
Of course.
Right?
Who
It's
else
like we
wears
throw
a top
big-
hat and a sash?
Right, and we throw big parties, and people are entertained, and people come to our city and spend money and have a good time. That's fun.
There's real McDermott would have fun arguing with some conservative radio hosts. He also might find common ground with them and earn respect from listeners. There's a real risk that McDermott might say something embarrassing, but probably nothing more embarrassing than what he's already said on his own podcast.
True. I've said some
He
embarrassing
obviously-
Can
stuff.
we get more embarrassing?
He heard the episode about the necrotic penis.
Yeah,
The which penis?
the frozen.
frozen,
yes.
the dead.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sure,
necrotic
he's
dead
like-
penis. I don't know
Wow.
if it was dead.
We don't know that.
We're gonna start telling
We're
people
assuming. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I know that you have been already thinking about this, and from what I've heard over the last 24 hours is that next Wednesday you're probably going to be down in Indy on a show. And
Yeah.
that got confirmed.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
See, I'm learning
So-
things right now.
that. Was that not on your calendar?
It's
Yeah, he complained to remove it. So it's
no, that is
Yes,
supposed
that's
to be on my
okay,
call.
good.
So it's confirmed.
yeah.
I'm going to be on Abdul Shabaz's show next
Yes,
Wednesday in
that's-
Indianapolis.
Or they're going to tape it Wednesday. So
They're going to tape it,
yeah,
and he's a conservative radio host out
he
of
is.
Indy.
You're already taking Briggs's advice.
I am already taking Briggs's advice. I think Briggs's advice is good advice, and so I've known Abdul Shabazz, who's a conservative radio host in Indianapolis, Under the Dome. We've mentioned him a couple times. I actually talked about bringing him on the show as a guest.
He's the one who Todd Rokita has excluded from press conferences.
He's the one that so we have that.
Even
in
though
common.
there's a Republican. I think maybe, I don't know,
No.
Todd Rokita said he wasn't Republican enough to moderate
because like the Republican Party's
debate.
throwing people out of their tent,
Right.
and Abdul Shabazz is unfortunately one of the people that they're trying to throw
some
out.
of the Republicans are throwing
I
him out.
think the Democratic Party, I know it's a big tent, and I think we should be welcoming people that are being thrown out of the Republican Party tent because our tent gets bigger and stronger that way.
Well, and it goes to what I'm sorry, not Todd, but what Mr. Briggs is arguing in the article, that if you're going to win, and there's a path to victory, but it runs through getting conservatives to understand that you're the better choice.
And we knew that going into this, that
Sure.
if I was ever going to have a chance to win, it would have to be with
The base coming out and
Of course.
getting some crossovers.
in getting crossovers.
Yeah.
That's absolutely the path. And the article wraps up, and then we'll do ads, and then we'll bring
Let's
in
do some ads.
Gabe. But McDermott shouldn't ignore Democrats, this article wraps up with. But his candidacy is hopeless unless he can go to Republicans' turf and convince some of them that he represents their best interests.
Yeah, really good article by James Briggs at Indy Star. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because it's
Indy Star is such a great paper.
they really have good columnists. It's
Indy
a good
Star
paper.
is
Something that Indiana should be proud of.
it's worth its money. It's worth its money. And it's. I wish that our locals did more in-depth stories like the Indy Star does. The Indy Star, when they do a story, it is in detail.
Yeah, I would say, I tell you the truth, I feel like, I don't know, I sometimes we bang on local press. Local press has actually, in my opinion, gotten better over the last 6-8 months to 10 months to me. But
That's great.
yeah, all right.
Okay. All right, let's go on. Ads, and then why don't we go ahead and bring over Gabe Mendoza?
Yes.
Of Mission South Shore. We're going to get his title right when he gets in here right off the bat. I'm pretty sure it's general manager, but we'll find out. But I know he's like the boss there.
All right, well, let's get him in and get
Byway Brewery is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and an outside patio. Brewing equipment offers a unique backdrop for your private event, like weddings, reunions, and corporate parties. We are conveniently located just off of 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Come on by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu.
Misprint specializes in delivering the highest quality signs and printing on time and within budget. Misprint's experience and technology allows them to offer custom commercial on-demand printing and sign solutions you can count on. Rick Balzenberger and his team have served Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. Misprint has 2 convenient locations in Munster and Hammond.
Executive Suite Squared. Executive Suite Squared, commonly known as ES2, is a first-class executive office environment located off 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. ES2 offers flexible membership plans that provide the privacy of dedicated, fully furnished offices with 24/7 secured access. So no matter how big or small your business may be, they can accommodate the way you work. For more information on their basic or private office membership packages or to rent one of their state-of-the-art conference rooms, call them at 219-844-2901 or visit them at executivesuites2.com.
That's the number 2. All right, here's a new read from Challenger Learning Center. This is exciting. The mayor's going to like this. Join Challenger Learning Center for a hypnotic musical journey and laser light show featuring Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Album in its entirety. This event will take place on Friday, March 18th with show times at 5 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. Tickets are $15 and must be purchased in advance. Visit clcnwi.com. That's clcnwi.com for more information and to register. So that will sell out.
It would be a shame if, you didn't see that properly. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, laser
in
light
its
show.
entirety, laser light
Right,
show.
Gabe?
I think you're onto something there.
Yeah. And, of course, it's Indiana, so I can't encourage anybody to break the law or anything. But,
That's right.
But if you, let me ask you, Lawyer Kevin. Let's say I visited Gabe's Mission South Shore dispensary in Chicago, and I bought an edible.
Okay.
And it might be like a decently strong edible, and then I took it while I was in Chicago.
Yes.
And then I had a driver, my wife, for instance, who does not do that and never has done it, not even once in her life. And then my wife drove me to the Pink Floyd laser light show, and I had an edible in my system. That would be legal?
I guess the only crime that maybe you could be talked about doing would be public intoxication or public, whatever. If you were stumbling all over the place and your edible
Hit me the wrong way.
Hit you the wrong way, and you were, maybe a police officer might.
I
think
can
you were
handle my
drunk.
edibles, buddy.
Because public intox doesn't require a BAC or anything. It's just if you appear to be intoxicated in public.
Okay.
But otherwise, I would say no. If
But
you're just
Marissa-
walking around and
How long have you known
buzzed
me?
up?
How long have you known me?
20-some years,
Have you ever seen me out of control once?
I can't. No,
I remember one
I
night.
think the answer to that is no.
I remember one night in Vegas. I was out of control.
I don't
not
remember
like
that. I don't even know if I was with you. So I don't know. The answer to me is no. I've never
because
seen you out of control.
I am never out of
Well,
control.
and you go to bed early.
So, but I do actually. But so do you have any doubt that if I took an edible in Chicago
No,
and
I
had a
have no
driver that
doubt.
drove me to the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon show,
You'd be fine.
All right.
So
There you
off
go.
there's your
That's a
plan.
plan.
That's legal advice from my lawyer.
One more ad, and we're going to go right into Gabe Mendoza and talk about all these kinds
I
of
just
things
wanted
like
to clear these
edibles
things up.
and-
I don't want to break the law.
I mean, I can't say you won't get arrested for public intox,
I'm
but
not
I would
gonna-
say it would be a very low
so
probability.
you're saying as long as I keep my shit together.
keep your shit together.
All right, cool. All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Yes.
Calumet Breweries. Let's keep 2022 off. Let's keep 2022 off to a good start with Michelob Ultra. Ultra only has 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, so it is sure to keep your resolutions in check while continuing to be one of the fastest growing brands nationally and in the region. Get to the next level and try an organic light lager with only 2.5 carbs and 85 calories. Ultra Pure Gold is brewed for your healthy lifestyle. Check out calbrew.com or Calbrew's Facebook page for brand info and giveaways. Cheers with beers.
Thanks to our sponsors, including Power in America, our premier sponsor. And now on to a product that is raising more tax revenue than beer in Illinois.
Hundreds of millions, guys.
How's it going, Gabe Mendoza?
It's going great. I kind of
I feel like
you
and I are buds, man.
We are.
I know.
We had that experience at the store.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I'm that Applebee's commercial after CNN. You remember that? Oh, Ukraine crisis, and then there's an Applebee's commercial. You remember how they got
That's right.
fired for that
Yes.
yesterday?
That's right.
Let's lighten it up. a
Lighten it
little.
up.
Yeah, let's
It's
lighten
like
it
the
up.
Applebee's commercial.
It's definitely going to be light.
Right.
And first off, I appreciate you being here a lot.
Oh, for sure.
And because Gabe and I were introduced and we talked and we were doing text, and I was like, hey, could I get a tour of your store? And Gabe was so sweet and he brought me in there and showed me all around, and it was super interesting to me for a policy matter, because I want this kind of stuff to happen in Indiana, and it's neat to see how you do it in Illinois, and you taught me a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, in Indiana, it's got a long way to go. So I think more people like you will do the state a lot of justice.
When did it start? When did it get passed in Illinois? Was it
So it was 2013 was when the
medical?
law, yes.
Okay.
Right.
Were you in the business then when it first became?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, so I was in 2014. I came to, so the law got passed in 2013. There was about a year of wrangling around, seeing how they're going to codify this and put
Licensing,
this
all
into
this. Yeah,
rules.
sure.
2014, licenses were due at the end of the year, around October. And I got in August. I was
How old were you?
I was 22. I was a year out of college.
You
I
look
was
like
working.
you're 22 now, man.
I was
That is young.
I'm 30 now.
So how much did you have to put down to
The
get
weed
elected?
business ages people well.
Yeah, right.
So I asked Snoop Dogg, right? I mean, look at Snoop,
Right?
Right? He looked great.
He does look great.
But so we had about $2 million we had raised from just private, right? There's no banks that are going to loan you any money.
Because it's illegal.
Because it's federally illegal.
Federally illegal, right.
Yep. And back then the state banks even were kind of.
I remember that.
Well, sure, they're probably all trying to figure it out too, right? Like
And
we
still.
don't want to get in trouble, and
Because I remember when it first became legal in Colorado, and everybody was going to Colorado.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember I knew a dispensary owner there, and it was like his entire store was filled with cash at the time because the
Scary.
state bank.
Yeah.
Dude, and they were paying people in cash,
Yeah.
and because they just wanted to get rid of their cash. I got too much cash, right?
And
nowhere to put it.
segment here, but segue, but there are, and you would think that things as the years have evolved have gotten smarter, and cops are not targeting folks, but just this year or last year in November, there were these cash trucks that are going from a legal dispensary in California to their bank in Colorado, and they got stopped by the LA County Sheriff.
Wow.
And all of their cash there, it was in a properly armored cash, a third-party cash truck. Over $200,000 got taken from them, right? And then that happened again in Missouri. From Missouri in Kansas, they got stopped.
So this
Took
is
all
an
the
ongoing
money.
problem
Just
in
recently,
the industry.
yeah, and we're just starting to find out that this is again being targeted.
Is it
by
the
feds.
Department of Justice doing
It's
this?
the
or-
DEA.
It's the DEA.
Wow.
So,
because
So
they're
is it 'cause they're
crossing state
crossing-
lines.
yeah.
With,
Yes.
That's what's happening.
That's
but what
the
I'm
thing.
saying is, I'm taking a step back here. We got President Biden, a Democrat. We got Kamala Harris, a vice president from California, admitted, that she smoked marijuana. She came from a state where it's legalized. And I just don't get how, and I just don't get how the DEA is.
Well, I mean, it's still federal law. I mean, federal law is federal law. They're going to try to enforce it. So at this point, I get it. It's illegal. You can't cross state lines with.
From one
From
legal
funds.
state to another legal state?
Well, I would assume that Kansas isn't legal or Missouri isn't legal. One of the
But
two.
he
They're
was
probably
saying
on their way to California.
That's what they're saying, and I'm not sure what the legal basis is on it. But that's what they're claiming, right? Is that you can't cross state lines with
Funds,
with
revenue
funds,
for it,
even
yeah.
though it's legal in that state. Once you cross the state lines, which I think that there's an argument to be made that that's incorrect.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you're facing federal charges while you're making that argument.
Right, and that
Right.
take how many years it can
Right.
take for you to get your money back.
So, Gabe, you have a store that's right on the state line, basically.
Oh yeah, Calumet City. So
Right.
it's
It's-
on
what's the
Torrance
location?
Avenue. It's 1330 Torrance Ave. It's right across the street from the mall right there,
Uh-huh.
River Oaks.
Uh-huh.
And we have seen. I mean, we see 1,000 people a day.
1,000 people a day. And so your other location is in South Chicago, right? On Commercial?
Yep, 85th and Commercial Avenue. That's right.
And,
So,
that one obviously does well as well.
That one does really well too. And it wasn't until adult use, right, that it really started to take off. So very grateful.
When did
for
that change from medical only to recreational?
January 1, 2020.
I
So this
remember
is
that day.
this is basically 2 years in, 24
Yes.
months in.
I remember that day because I remember driving. At the time, I was like inside my head celebrating, and I'm just like so excited. Like I've been waiting for something like this like most of my life, right? And I drove to a couple of dispensaries in Illinois just to check it out.
Of course.
And there was freaking lines like down the street.
Oh yeah, we knew something was going to be. This was going to be a big deal when we were leaving the night before at 8 p.m. and there was
Like
a
New Year's
guy,
Eve.
yeah,
Right.
camped out at the front of the store in a tent.
Is that in Mission in Chicago?
in
South Chicago?
South
So
Chicago.
I was reading something that in 1 week, in that first week, it was 10.8 million in sales in Illinois, and I also read that Mission, your dispensary, is the only one that still had recreational sales going, and everybody else had kind of stepped back because they ran out of product and they were only doing medical.
Yeah. We were. I mean, that's something we're really proud of, right? We never ran out of weed. We never ran out. And it was helpful because we're vertically integrated, so we were able to take from our cultivation center and provide to our store.
Could you explain that? I know you explained it to me when I was on the tour. What does vertically integrated mean?
Yeah, so vertical integration is when you own the entire vertical, which essentially means from seed to sale, you have ownership rights in the different companies that would allow you to do that. So we have a dispensary, which is the retail outlet, and we have a cultivation center, which is the wholesale, which grows it and sells it to our.
And you have distribution, I assume. So
Correct,
you've got
right.
it all the way up the
whole
vertical
thing.
chain. Yeah.
How many people work for Mission?
So nationwide, it's about 300
Really? That's it?
Yeah,
I thought it
yeah.
would be way more because
So-
we have multiple. I know you have one in
we have
Ann Arbor,
six,
Michigan.
Six
Yeah.
stores, 3 states.
I know a lot about your operation. I know
Yeah.
you say Cal City. I know you got Ann Arbor, Michigan. I know you got South Chicago, and I'm getting a little.
3 in Massachusetts.
That's right.
Is
Yep.
it? That's why I
Brooklyn,
didn't know.
Worcester.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you got to say that because that's where Marissa went to.
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah,
say
Worcester.
it? Worcester. All right.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you? Yeah, my wife went
Brooklyn.
to Holy Cross.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Not Worcester or anything.
No.
like that.
No,
Yeah,
Worcester.
People, they'll call you out.
Worcester.
right.
Marissa taught me the right way to say it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So one of the things I was looking up, it seems like the parent company is called Forefront.
Correct.
Is
Yep.
that right? So, and I was reading that they're traded on the Canadian stock exchange.
Yes. So
Stock-
all of us have to be, right? We
Yeah.
all have to be
Isn't
traded
that
on
crazy?
the CSE. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
all in Canada. 99 cents a share, Tom. 592 million shares outstanding. They got a market cap of 586 million. EPS is negative 0.14 and a PB ratio of 9. So
Yeah.
it's moving. It's getting in. And by the way, 33 million in revenue in third quarter 2021 compared to 22.3 third quarter 2020. So
Right.
Yeah.
Would you?
Growing.
You'd obviously rather be listed in America.
Oh
So-
yeah, when we
Yeah,
uplist,
I'm sure all of them would be.
That is going to be that. Frankly, now is the time to invest because it is an inevitability that we will be able to uplist into the American exchanges, and when that happens, you get institutional money that is going to be able to actually pour into it, and then you have the federal windfall of if you then deschedule this, you're able to then put in money from banks and larger institutions, and that is going to be a huge wave.
Yeah,
So if you invested right now in the Canadian Stock Exchange and bought stock in your company and you wanted to hold on for 10 years, you're saying, and I imagine within 10 years, America is going to pull their head out of their butt and we're going to start, recognizing that this is a quality product that we can make money from. And quite frankly, people are using it anyway. So you're saying that stock that's in the Canadian Stock Exchange will be converted and uplisted in the American Stock Exchange and probably experience tremendous growth.
Oh,
99
100%.
cents a share right now.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm in.
Yes. I mean, the multiples
I'm
that we're
in.
seeing right now are what, like 5x our EBITDA, and
Saw that.
any normal industry you're seeing 10, 15, 20x, right? And so and our financials are sound, right? The money that we're profitable.
So you still have cash on hand.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing I thought was interesting, right? And if you just look at not even, I guess, at Forefront or Mission specifically, but the marijuana industry, and you just look at a picture in Illinois, right? In 2020, that was their first year, $630 million or $680 million in sales. 2021, $1 billion. So it's a growing market, a growing industry. People are getting more comfortable with it. They feel like it's more, they can get more recreational out of it. And it's not this taboo thing, right? People are getting more comfortable, like going to the liquor store, like going to the dispensary.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people are getting
Are you
more and more
embarrassed
used to.
if you're in a liquor store and you run into somebody are you embarrassed?
I mean,
I'm not.
I don't know. I mean, it depends
not
what
at
I'm
all.
buying. If I'm buying like
Yeah, you got like 20 bottles of
Like,
Jack.
yeah.
Like, oh, hey, what's up?
Fireball,
I got
and,
issues
you
here. Yeah, I run into,
buying a nice bottle of wine.
I
no.
run into people I know at dispensaries in Illinois,
Yeah, I mean, I
Of
think
course you
it's-
do. Yeah.
and then I ran down the street in fear. No, I'm just kidding. No,
You're
I
not
did.
the only politician that shops at these stores, right? And we have aldermen who do, and they have the same concern, right? Is what are my constituents going to say? What are they going to think? And that's the thing that we need to normalize, right? And that's what we're doing every day. 7 years of this so far that I've been in it is constant normalization.
Want to hear a funny story?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm in line at Mission back in the day. Okay. And it was like mask time. It was during the pandemic, right? And at that time I was running for Congress. Kevin's got that worried look in his face.
I can't wait to see where
he's
this
never
goes.
heard this story
This
before.
is the James Briggs, he'll probably say something embarrassing on
Kevin's
the
looking at me
podcast.
like with both eyeballs. That's why I know he's nervous.
All right, I'm just gonna
That's
look
our cue
down.
to each other. We're like, are you
Just look
freaking
down.
going this, right? So I'm in line, and then I hear the scariest words of my life because I'm in line and I'm covered, man. It's like winter, so I got a hat on, I got my mask on, and I think nobody could recognize me because that's And then I hear Mayor McDermott, and I'm like, oh my God, right? And I turn
did
around,
they do that?
and it's a guy that I don't know. This guy, okay? He's a gentleman. He's African American attorney that lives in Chicago, but also spends time in Hammond. Maybe his family's there or something. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, that's awesome. Like, I can't believe you're here. And I'm like, blah blah blah,
celebrating
edibles
the
help
holidays.
me. Edibles help me sleep, whatever, right? And of course, I'm gonna do it on site. I'm not gonna transport it back to Indiana, right? So I buy one edible or whatever, right? And then the guy was so geeked that I was there. You could tell he was like, I can't believe you're here.
Yeah.
And then he gave me his card, and he's like, would you give me a call? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I took his card, and obviously at the time we're raising money. I come back the next day, and I get called from my finance guy. He's like, some guy out of Chicago just donated $1,000 to your campaign.
Yes.
Same. Well, I think it goes, like you
Kevin's
said,
like, all right, let's move on
like
now.
you said, Gabe, it goes to normalization, right? Like at some point it's going to be, I mean, I just kind of compare it to alcohol. And I mean, with alcohol, we all know people that maybe struggle with it or, or become addicted to it. Yet a lot of people are just social drinkers. And I would think in the marijuana industry, you're seeing the same thing, right? I mean, most people are just recreational users. They're just there because this is their thing. Just like some people like to drink beer, some people like to smoke weed. And is that kind of what you see happening?
I think that it's a very interesting. So by far, the individual, because we have medical and recreational, so we can see the numbers, right? By far, 90% of the people that come in are coming in for recreational. But the thing that they either do or don't realize is that the chemical compounds that they're ingesting are the same chemical compounds that someone who is a medical patient is ingesting, right? And so while they are coming in for a good time, they're also receiving those medical benefits, which I think is a really interesting dichotomy when you compare it to alcohol, right?
Because you're not receiving any medical benefits.
Exactly. I think that the people do use it to self-medicate in the guise of having a good time, or just because they do want to have a good time.
Let's face it, though. The thing is, and you know how I feel about this issue, right? But the thing that's unhealthy about marijuana is the smoking of it, right? So, do you do edibles mostly? You seem to me like a real healthy guy, Gabe. Okay.
Yeah, so I do both.
Do you smoke still?
Yeah. I mean, it's the carcinogens, right? It's when you you combust anything.
Right.
Is where it
that's
gets
that's the unhealthy part, right? So, theoretically, if you just because they have THC oil, right? So if you wanted to be real healthy about it, and you just did the THC oil, you'd still get the same effects as,
greater effects, right? I mean,
without the harmful.
It's more condensed.
Yeah, it's higher.
So the thing I found interesting also on the website was you got flower, which I assume that's plant, right?
Yep.
And then you've got pre-roll, vaporizers, concentrates, edibles, topicals. I don't know what a tincture is, and soft gels.
I was just telling you what it is.
A tincture?
It's like a dipper.
Yeah, so tinctures are in dropper form, so like a dropper, and you would put it under your tongue, and the reason for that is it is a quicker onset. So for an edible, you eat an edible 45 minutes to an hour. If it's a really long time, maybe 2 hours, but most likely not. With a tincture, because it absorbs right into your bloodstream under your tongue, the effects are 15, 20 minutes. So it's a quicker onset, and it's more direct, so it goes right into your bloodstream quicker.
Interesting.
Have you done that? I'm sure.
Oh,
you
yeah,
have.
for sure. Yeah,
is it healthier than smoking?
Oh, I mean, the tough thing about smoking, and it's all marginal, right? I mean, the carcinogens that you're smoking from the paper and the butane are pretty small, right? You're not finding people that are getting cancer from long-term consuming of cannabis, right? But yes, it is a healthier version because there's nothing negative carcinogen wise about it.
Because I don't smoke cigarettes at all. I don't smoke, never have smoked cigarettes, never did. I don't really drink a lot, right? I really don't like it. I mean, I'll drink, if Kevin and I are going out and we're working, I'll have a drink. But I'd rather not drink.
Right.
I'd rather use a tincture or,
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it? Tincture?
Tincture. Yeah, tincture.
Interesting.
I learned something today.
I did too.
Do you guys cultivate in Illinois?
We do. Yeah. So
you have vertical integration even within the state.
Yeah. So we have vertical integration here and in Massachusetts. That's kind of our bread and butter, right? It makes the most sense economically to be able to cultivate. Do you guys know about 280E?
No.
So 280E is a tax law, federal tax law that was created in the 80s to allow for cocaine dealers to pay their taxes. So essentially,
that's nice of them.
The federal government, very nice folks, as you all know, allows for individuals who are trafficking Schedule I narcotics to pay their taxes. However, the only thing, and this was because it was successfully argued by this drug dealer in the 80s, the only thing that you can actually report on your taxes or ask for a discount on your taxes is cost of goods sold. And so if you're in the cultivation side of things, there's a lot of things that go into cost of goods sold, right? Yeah. If you're in the dispensary, it's really only the product. It's the product that you're bringing in and you're paying for. So when you have vertical integration, it allows you to write off more things because you're then able to funnel that through cultivation, right? And so not only that, but you obviously, when you grow the product for, $5, $10 a gram, you can sell it for, you can lower your price, and price is the most.
And you don't have transportation costs either, because I noticed, I thought I saw something, you guys are building a 558,000 square foot place in Matson.
Yes.
Which is huge.
Gabe taught me something that I didn't know when I went last time, which is interesting, is you have to, the weed that you sell in Illinois has to be grown in Illinois.
Correct. Yeah.
You can't be like make a deal in California and say, hey, send me a bunch of weed because then it's crossing state lines.
Yeah,
right?
for now.
So how do you deal with Michigan?
So
you get it from somebody else in Michigan?
Yeah. We fortunately there is a lot of cultivation in Michigan, so the price is pretty low. But we have a large amount of our competitors that are vertically integrated, and to compete with prices is tough, right? And for now, right? So for now, you have to have product in the same state, grown in the same state. You have to sell it inside of the state. When federal legality comes along, you'll be able to cross state lines, which is a conundrum for current operators in these states, because it's like if you can grow in a field in California for 30 cents a gram, but you now have this 500,000 square feet facility, how does that work, right? And
what's cheaper? Where's labor cost? I mean, it all is going to be interesting because all of a sudden maybe some of these cultivators and growers in states where you have to buy from now may go out of business because all of a sudden you can get it cheaper from out of state.
Right.
I grew up in Northern California, and it was as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, I could easily buy marijuana anywhere, but I could never get alcohol because I looked like I was 12, right? But I find that ironic is like, because of the way we set up the law, we know that the marijuana, prohibition has failed miserably, right? And it's way easy for kids to get marijuana because it's failed. That whole system's failed. But the prohibition on alcohol, saying you have to be 21 years or older, is very effective in that regards. Like I guarantee you, if you're 18 years old and you go to Mission South Shore, you can't buy weed, right?
Right.
You have to be 21.
Correct.
And you guys are vigilant about it, I imagine, right?
Oh, yeah. We have these we have like $1,200 ID scanners. $1,200 for this thing.
Well, nobody wants to risk their license, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
The sanctity of the license is the most important.
And I bet you in Illinois, now that we have this system set up the way it is, I bet you not as many under 21-year-old kids are smoking marijuana as they were when it was just a total black market and you could just go to anybody and buy weed, and they didn't have those $1,200 scanners, Yeah. There's like a policy argument behind here too I could never get alcohol when I was a kid, right? But I could get weed easy.
And that's the thing, right? I think that there's a really large there's a large underground market that is always going to be there as long as the taxation and the prices and the current market are as high as they are. And so we have an effective tax rate of anywhere from 20 to 41%.
Yeah.
41%
it's
on
like
your
the
cannabis.
casinos.
It's wild. I mean, but that tax isn't borne upon us. That's
right.
on the consumer.
Sure it is.
And so they are, I mean, when you're thinking of places in southeast side of the city of Chicago, to ask someone to pay 41% taxes when they might not have to is tough.
On the street,
and so the reality, and I was talking to a couple of senators and representatives from Illinois the other day, asking them, and of course this is a very funny ask, right? Can you lower your taxes, right? In Illinois, that's a kind of a crazy
we like this tax revenue, Gabe.
Right, exactly. So it's tough.
What do you see, as we kind of finish up here, what do you see as the future of the marijuana industry over the next 10 years, either locally in your market and maybe nationally?
Yeah, so there is a big push to deschedule from the federal level. And so I think that certainly in the next 10 years, right, we will have descheduling of cannabis, which will allow for, like we said, product across state lines. It'll allow for more fundamental financial interests to come in and start to invest. Frankly, it'll allow for conglomeratization, which, some could say is good or bad. But I think that once you deschedule, big tobacco, big pharma, all of these companies will be able to just write a blank check. And I think
buy like Mission South Shore
and
for
frankly,
cash, right?
Everyone's looking to be bought. Like,
interesting.
There's
so
no
you'll
way
be
around
like
it.
part of like some big conglomerate one day, probably.
I think that
the
that's
Walmart of
when they write you a
marijuana
check.
sales.
And you'll be living in Park City, baby. That's right.
And so I think that you'll see a lot more money come in. I think that you will see a big push for social equity. That's going to be huge, right? You're seeing states now. You're not passing legalized cannabis recreationally in states without some sort of social equity provision. In Illinois, it's amazing because 25% of all the tax revenue goes to fund a grant program that goes directly into communities that need it, right? And that's this year, $40 million, right? And that's year after year after year after year. In New York, they did 40% of their tax revenue goes to that.
That's great.
Interesting story I also have. I was visiting, I like to visit these stores and check out what's going on, okay? And it's interesting to me because I see what's going on in Illinois with the stores there. They look like Starbucks. Like your store looks like a Starbucks. It's gorgeous, right? And then I go to the ones in Michigan, and it seems like when you go to the ones in Michigan, there's way more Like way more, right? There are plenty there. Whereas in Illinois, it's way more controlled, it seems like. And obviously the taxes in Michigan are way lower, and I know that's not your fault. But the interesting thing is I'm talking to somebody in a dispensary in Michigan, and I'm like, hey, I'm running for Senate, and I'm just interested in how things are going. And he was so happy. He owned the place, and he's like, let me tell you a story, Tom. I have an employee that's worked for me for years, and she does a great job. She has a great wage. She wants to buy a house. And she went in to get a mortgage and used all of her W-2s and all that she made from here, and the mortgage wouldn't pass because she worked in a marijuana
They didn't
dispensary.
consider it legal employment.
Oh yeah, you
for
cannot
federal.
get a FHA loan.
Wow.
You cannot. I bought a house recently. You cannot get a FHA loan.
You have to do conventional. Wow,
and they won't. It's the interesting thing is, sometimes the people who are giving you these loans don't realize it until the end. And it's at that last step where the feds have to look in and see, okay, how, does this loan meet our criteria? And it's at that last step that you get denied.
I think that's the crazy thing about the industry is that, like, until we kind of fix this federally, there's all these little things that are happening that impact the ability for people that work in the industry, that own in the industry, and that probably use in the industry that are being impacted. So, well, you want to wrap it up? I was great having Gabe in.
Gabe, I want you to come back, man.
Oh,
and,
for sure.
Things are going to continue to develop, and, I consider you like my main contact in the industry. And, I really appreciate you. You taught me a lot, and I want to use what you taught me to try to change the law, not only in Indiana, but across the country. That's one of my goals.
I like that. I'd be more than happy to come back on.
Thanks, brother.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. And by the way, your
Good seeing you, man.
Absolutely.
your employees are so sweet. Your store is so professional. Like, it's just, I just want to say, I'm very proud of you. And by the
Thank
way,
you.
the fact that you're 30 years old blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Sir. Yeah.
It's
They
awesome.
care. They care.
Yeah.
That's important.
Well, good luck with everything at Mission Dispensaries, located at.
Well, we've got two. One is 1330 Torrance Avenue, and the other is 8554 South Commercial. We are definitely the closest dispensary to the Indiana border.
No doubt. Like,
Just
from
follow-
Kevin's
follow
house.
the rules.
From Kevin's house to your dispensary is like 3 minutes, right?
There you go.
Don't know. I've never been there, but I mean, yes,
I
it's
checked-
pretty close.
I've checked it out. It is 3 minutes solid in traffic, by the way.
I just caution everybody: just follow the rules.
Yeah,
That's
Follow
right.
the rules.
don't drive it back.
No.
Joe,
All right, wrap it.
Joe, thank you very much for filling in for the notorious LMP. It was great to have you today.
Sure.
And by the way, Chris, good job. Other than that one glitch, it's like if you're the center in a football game and you fumble one time,
One bad snap,
one bad snap, I mean, that could be forgiven.
but great recovery.
Great recovery.
By just closing the window.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
they
kidding.
did.
Yeah, just like we acted like it never happened. Okay.
I would try to turn it off and on, but we're in the middle
Good
of the
idea.
stream,
It's like we fumbled, the other team recovered. It was your fault,
I don't even know if they were other team recovered. I think it was like a bad snap.
but we still won the game.
There you go.
Right.
Because I mean,
laces
obviously,
out.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Laces
wasn't.
out.
Laces out. Spoken like a true center.
Gabe Mendoza. What was your title there again?
So I'm the EVP of Operations for Mission Dispensaries.
Nice.
Awesome,
Executive Vice President. That's a title, man.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
And thanks
Thank you
for
very
being
much.
on the show.
Absolutely.
Of course, to Kevin Chandler, who's my lawyer. He's my campaign manager and one of my best friends. He's the best. I call him the caboose, but he's the locomotive. Quite
That's
frankly.
not true.
Yeah, but anyway, thanks for everybody for listening to LOCPOD. Thanks for Gabe for coming by. I think it was one of our better shows, and I appreciate you guys. And we'll be back on the air Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.